First person that's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but he's working his way for it, is Bryan Adams. He was there last night singing for Paul Rodgers and did a fucking piss poor job, if you ask me. Doesn't have the range or the voice for those songs. Now, my wife, Kimberly, is a major Bryan Adams fan. She just loves his voice.
Oh, I love his voice.
And I just hate his voice. I can't stand him,
Aww.
you know. But he's certainly worthy of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Just because I don't like him doesn't mean that his output isn't valid and everything else. I absolutely hated the performance that was supposed to be Bad Company because Paul Rodgers couldn't show up last night, even though they were talking about, well, we'll do one song. No, now we're going to do two songs. Oh, now Paul's not going to show up due to health reasons. The Ahmet Ertegun Award. You know, he came to Paul Rodgers and said, yeah, we're putting this thing together. We want Bad Company to be featured real soon and everything. He says, why? Rock and roll's alive. Rock and roll don't belong in no museum. And yet he took on the honor. He wasn't there due to health concerns. So was that another no-show and yet not quite digging at the Rock and Roll Hall of Shame? Or was that really due to concerns? He's had 2 major strokes and 11 additional strokes on top of that since. He had to relearn to use his voice when he was doing the Midnight Rose album, an excellent album, by the way. How about Alice in Chains, my favorite of the grunge bands? Not there. And there's another one, probably my second favorite of the grunge bands, we'll be talking about. America, all right? More pop-oriented, but damn great band. I'm a major fan of America. How about Anthrax? Not a fan, but they've done their time. How about Argent? Okay? I mean, I'll hold that off. Argent. Asia. My God, they're huge. And they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Bachman Turner Overdrive, some of these bands, by the way, you guys mentioned. Here's another one of you mentioned. Badfinger. Not only, close to 10 top 20 hits on top of everything else, but some great freaking albums. They were the heir apparent to the Beatles, many would say, and a short, tragic history. Others include Beck as a solo artist, the B-52s, the Black Crowes, Blind Faith. Are you kidding me? This is a super group. Blood, Sweat, and Tears, not one of my favorite bands. It took Chicago to get me over to hearing horn-based bands. And these Chicago and them kind of came out around the same time, or at least I became aware of them. If one of them beat them by a year or 2 or 3, I'm not aware of the history that close. You know, Spinning Wheels got cloying to me even when I was in junior high. So I was never a major fan, but a lot of you were. And again, they're rock and roll, or, well, they're kind of, I don't know, they're almost Broadway rock and roll to me. Certainly better than Missy Elliott, a better choice than Missy Elliott. Blue Cheer. I've got an album of theirs right out in my record collection. Some people say even the progenitors of heavy metal. Not Black Sabbath, it's Blue Cheer. There are fans who claim that. Blue Oyster Cult, my God. How big do you have to be to get into this gig? John Bon Jovi, I'm less of a fan of John Bon Jovi by himself. Then we've got Boston. My God. You know, oh man. Just based on that one first album, they should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, or at least he should, depending on how you view Boston. Brownsville Station, are you kidding me? How about Phil Collins as a solo artist? I was more a fan of Phil Collins with Genesis than a solo output, although I like some of his solo output until he started doing covers and things like that, and I kind of lost my interest. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. What the hell is going on here? Are you freaking kidding me? Not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But Outkast is in. Cher got inducted last year. But heaven forbid putting Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young in that thing, or The Cult, all right? Less a super group, but big group, the Spencer Davis group. Now I said I was going to hold off after I read a few more of these. Now think about how big these freaking bands are. Now, when they first started the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, there was already decries that many of these people weren't being inducted. And then as the years have gone by, people don't even know who these people are. Uriah Heep. Ooh, God.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? I don't think they even put Uriah, maybe I'm wrong here. I don't think they even put Uriah Heep on this list. Are you kidding me? Okay.
I know.
I've already said many times, John, Uriah Heep is the band that was nipping and tucking at Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath and Deep Purple. Those were, they call them the unholy trinity of heavy metal or whatever, And Uriah Heep was right at their ankles. I had all their albums. I loved them as a teenager. Absolutely ridiculous that they're not in. Now, see, they're more heavy metal, sort of kind of prog thing, Uriah Heep. The more prog you are, the more heavy metal you are, the less your chances are of actually being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's been proven many times. I said Derek and the Dominoes, short-lived band, but just for Layla alone, that band should be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That would give Eric Clapton his 4th nomination, wouldn't it? I think he's the only one that's got 3, or at least at one time he was the only one. Rick Derringer, oops, he died this year, didn't he? And some of these other members of these bands, Badfinger, Joey Molland died. Oops, Bobby Whitlock of Derek and the Dominoes died. Of course, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, Crosby's dead. Canned Heat, several of them are dead, and I've already covered them as they passed away over the last couple of years. Boston, their singer, didn't he pass away? One of them passed away. All of these bands that you're looking at, many of them have people who have passed away just this year. So now if you bring them in, Devo, how about Devo? Or Emerson, Lake and Palmer, or talking about Prague, see, less of a chance there. The Fabulous Thunderbirds, John Fogerty, as a solo artist, he should be in. Let's see, who else do we have here? Foghat, how is Foghat not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Free. Now, Free is the band that Simon Kirke and Paul Rodgers belonged to before they formed Bad Company. Ace Frehley, which I just did a video on those who passed, and I forgot to include Ace Frehley and my good friend Terry Draper from Clat 2, who just passed away this year. So if they all of a sudden just brought him up, we're going to make you into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for your solo efforts, he ain't going to know nothing about it. Jay Giles Band, Golden Earring. The guitarist just passed away. He's on my latest video on that. So too late for him. You're not going to ever do him any favors, any solids. Grand Funk Railroad, damn right, Dan. The Guess Who. They're going to even be touring. And his heroic stand against a fake band out there. Whoa. Maybe that's why they're not in this year. Why didn't he get they get a nomination based on Burton Cummings' heroic efforts to save that band's reputation? How very freaking rock and roll is that? And then Sammy Hagar, I don't give a shit if that man ever gets in at all. He was up there doing his big speech. I watched a couple of clips. I couldn't watch the thing, folks. It just sickened me to no end. He's such a kiss ass these days, and he does his fellow band members dirty. And I love him. I've got several albums by him. I've got a Sammy Hagar album, and I've got both Montrose albums. He was a hero of mine, but not the way he's been acting lately. He's such a kiss ass. Don Henley, don't care if that man ever gets in. And he had a great solo career. And I bought his albums at that time. I was a fan of the man until recent years. Humble Pie, no way, Jose. Billy Idol, Iron Butterfly. Oops, Doug Ingalls dead. He just passed away. You missed your opportunity there. And wasn't he the last surviving member of the original, the ones that we know of. I know there were incarnations leading up to it and all of that. Iron Maiden, as one of you brought out. James Gang. Jethro Tull. Oh my God. This is one of my favorite bands. This band was in my top 13 list. And they certainly have earned their spot into that hellhole. How about Kansas? One of you were saying, who's left in Kansas? My God. Look at these recent deaths. King Crimson. What's his name? The guy with the real curly hair and he has a little twisty mustache from King Crimson. He died this year. So you're not going to be doing him any favors, you dumb shits. And what about Huey Lewis and the News? Not one of my favorite bands, but certainly a kick-ass rock band. He's got the pedigree. Just because I don't care for his sound, the man is deserving of the award. Megadeth, they've got a new album coming out in 2026. They're still pumping ass. No, heavy metal can't have that. We only shall have one or two of those. Molly Hatchet, the Monkees, okay? All right, there's a debate for you. I am a proponent for them. I think they should be in, all right? They were a TV show that turned into a band. It was the TV show that really cemented their place in history. It is historical. It is part of rock culture. It hit all of us at that time. I was still a little teeny bopper. I love the Monkey Show.
Oh, yeah.
See, Kimberly loved the Monkey Show.
I love the Monkees. Yeah. Right? Oh, gosh.
And she's a lot younger than me, so she didn't watch them first time round. She watched them in the reruns. Montrose, one of my very favorite bands. I already told you, I've got both Montrose albums. Motley Crue, okay, I explained to you guys. I don't like Motley Crue, but that doesn't mean they don't belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. When they first came out, they were a kick-ass band. I liked their latest single, Dogs of War. I thought that was kind of kick-ass, right? So it's not like... I talked about this on my last stream. Just because I criticize people doesn't mean that I don't see the good in every one of them. And when I have a time, not just going down a list like I am tonight, I will always bring up the good characters, or as much good as I can find with some of these fools. Motorhead, Mott the Hoople, Mountain.
The Wonders.
Nazareth, New York Dolls. Lead singer for New York Dolls just died.
Oh, yeah.
So, matter of fact, was he the last of the New York Dolls? He may have been the last one. Buster Poindexter himself. He passed, so if they did get inducted, nobody in that band would ever have known it. Nilsson, well, he's been dead so long, he wouldn't know it anyway. Oasis, not in the rock and roll. Something tells me we'll be hearing a whole lot about Oasis next year, though. What do you guys think? They have a shot next year with all the hubbub and everything going on around them. Pantera, not in. Robert Plant as a solo artist, you guys know what I think about that. We've done entire streams on how he is the epitome of a solo artist that used to belong to a band and continue to go out with his boots on. Procol Harum. Procol Harum? Whiter Shade of Pale? Just that hit alone, they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. What was Missy Elliott's hit? What was that song?
Nope, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I probably should.
Why? Why should you? I don't think you should at all.
Well, my sons love.
I'll bet you 98%. I'm feeling frisky tonight, baby.
Oh, I know.
I bet you 99% of our audience can't hum a freaking Missy Elliott song.
Yeah.
The Raspberries. Oops. Eric Carmen's dead. He died. REO Speedwagon. They're important, yeah. Get them in, I suppose. Maybe you can squeeze them in on a night that Kevin Cronin's off on some Hawaiian vacation away from humanity and, give him a good send-off there. Not a fan of him and his shenanigans. Joe Satriani, one of the greatest guitar players on the planet. No mention whatsoever. Slade, Mott the Hoople, Slade, man. There was a time, Mott the Hoople, Slade, Mott the Hoople, Slade, Queen, Mott the Hoople, Slade, Queen. That's all you'd see in the Circus Magazine or Rolling Stone. Lots of stuff. They got ton of critically great press from these outlets that created this damn monkey show. How about the Smashing Pumpkins? Not my favorite of the grunge bands, but I love at least Siamese Twins and Melancholia. Steppenwolf, Born to Be Wild, Magic Carpet Ride. God damn, the Pusher Man is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Move over Missy. How about Stone Temple Pilots, my second favorite grunge band? No, we got Outkast, we got Cher.
Yeah.
You know, we have Cyndi Lauper. Stray Cats, better get them in now. Seltzer's not feeling well these days. They just canceled a ton of their shows. Could be the end of the road. Maybe if you hurry up Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he can wheel in a wheelchair and accept his award. How about Styx? One of you mentioned that in the comments. How about Supertramp? Their lead singer just died. Oops. 10 years after. How long does a band have to be in purgatory for you guys to wake up? Thin Lizzy. Can you believe these names I'm reading off to you folks? Not worthy? Are you kidding me? 38 Special, Tool, Toto. Of course, what's his name from Toto, guitarist, Steve? He said they turned down a Rolling Stone cover photo shoot. And ever since, they've been paying for it. And he said, well, maybe we probably shouldn't have done that. But he also said we weren't concerned about that. People were saying we're not a real band anyway, that, you know, we're rock and roll light and all of this. And we just never gave a damn. We played what we fucking wanted to, and Rolling Stone be damned. And look what happens when you stand up to a big guy. Johnny Winter and Edgar Winter. What? Too white for you? Come on, this is fucking ridiculous. And Steve Winwood.